Wednesday, March the 2nd edition of the Carolina Weather Video. Meteorologist Matthew East here along with you. One storm system gone, another one due in tomorrow night. We'll talk about that, plus some thoughts as we go into next week, which will be a different type of weather week. Now, certainly a warm day yesterday with low and even mid-70s again in many, many spots across the region. There's your triad area high temperatures breaking 70 in most spots. In fact, every one of the larger observing sites hitting 70. Same basic idea for Charlotte, although slightly cooler in Shelby. But the bottom line is it was another fantastic, gorgeous weather day yesterday. Currently, 40s and 50s, still 60s along the coast. We have a cold front working through, and temperatures are cooling behind the front down into the 30s in the mountains, 40s in the northwest Piedmont. You get the idea. It gets milder south and east. Winds kicking around to the northwest behind the front. Look at that sustained wind in Boone at 36 miles per hour here during the 5 o'clock hour this morning. And we'll have some northwesterly winds here as today rolls along, a little bit breezy at times as this cooler air mass settles into the region. Now, this is what the radar looked like from 9 p.m. yesterday to 5 a.m. this morning. And that was that round of rain that rolled on through associated with the cold front. This system did produce some severe weather across the southeast. In fact, a cluster of severe weather incidences around Birmingham, an apparent tornado down around the Bessemer area with some injuries reported with that later yesterday. Also another tornado report in eastern Alabama. And the report you see here in North Carolina, that is a wind gust that occurred at about 40 miles per hour, a little after midnight, as that line of rain with windiness moved on through the Piedmont. Now, this is the radar over the past couple of hours, so during the 4 and 5 o'clock hour this morning, as I cut the video, there's your rain through the eastern parts of the Carolinas gradually exiting, some snow up into the northeastern part of the country and southeastern Canada with the main area of low pressure way up that way. Today, we squeeze in a pretty quiet day. A lot of sunshine for us today. And then I think the mainly clear sky holds for a lot of tonight. Your high temperatures this afternoon will be in the upper 40s to lower 50s across the Piedmont. There's your northwesterly winds, a little bit gusty at times. And there's your regional highs, 54 in Charlotte, 55 in Raleigh, 49 in Greensboro, 60 in Columbia. Kind of a chilly night. A lot of us freezing or below in North Carolina for your low temperatures overnight. Now, here comes this next system working our way. That'll dive to the south, move through Alabama and Georgia, and then from there, this will move up to near the Outer Banks by Friday morning. On the northwest side of that low, I do think some snowflakes are likely to fly in some areas. I'll show you that in more detail in just a second. This is the NAM, the North American Mesoscale Model solution. Same basic idea in terms of the placement of the low and the opportunity for some snow to be involved in the northwestern parts of North Carolina. This is the footprint of snow that's on the most recent NAM model. You notice a bullseye there in southwestern North Carolina on that particular model, and not a whole lot in terms of any snow on the ground once you get east of the higher elevations in the mountains and the foothills. The European model, I've been leaning on this model, and I'm going to stick with this basic idea, so that maybe more totals there in southwestern North Carolina than what you see here, but maybe something along these lines. Not a huge deal by any stretch of the imagination, but especially in the foothills and the mountains, maybe enough to get a little bit of snow on the ground. Certainly in the mountains, but maybe the northern foothills as well as you get into later Thursday night and a very early Friday morning. Now, again, I'll show you more of that in just a second. There goes that system departing. Clouds will gradually erode by late Friday. Your Friday high temperatures rather cool, and then a steady warming trend through the weekend. In fact, watch this. There's your cool weather that we have in place to end this week, and then watch this. As we get into next week, a big, big warm-up takes place, and as the system dives in, it could be a severe weather setup over the nation's midsection of the Mississippi Valley. So let me show you some more detailed modeling here as how this unfolds for us in the next week to 10 days. All right, there's your 500 millibar chart off of the European model. This is the disturbance swinging in tomorrow night. And from there, in fact, let me show you. There's the Canadian model solution. The 0Z run of the GFS was a little flatter. It's a little bit more impressive now with the 6Z run, and I'll show you that here momentarily. So this was the previous run, the 0Z run of the GFS model. Low pressure in Alabama. that then moved to southeastern sections of North Carolina by overnight Thursday night and Friday morning. There's your snow on the northwest side, and then from there it goes out to sea. Now, the most recent run of the GFS is more impressive with this. There's a look at overnight. Low pressure centered over South Carolina. This is overnight Thursday night into Friday morning, and then there we are around daybreak Friday. Pretty strong low pressure on the Outer Banks and enough dynamics that you get a period of some wet snow even down into Greensboro, as indicated if you take that particular computer model verbatim. So the snow chart from the previous run of the GFS, the 0Z run, looked like that. Zooming in, there's your pretty good little thump in the mountains and a little bit of snow in the ground in the northern foothills. The most recent run looks like this. Okay, and again, a pretty good thump in the mountains, but a little bit more making it east of the mountains due to that deformation band setting up. And actually, that winds up matching up relatively well with the probabilities you see here from the WPC. That's the probability of an inch of snow. So you're looking at, of course, the highest chances there in the mountains. Chances taper off a bit from there. A couple of other models here to show you. Here comes the Canadian model solution. This is a look at overnight Thursday night and Friday morning, and then there's daybreak Friday. Not a terribly impressive system, rain, and not a whole lot of snowflakes out of the northern foothills. And the European model, I showed you the snow chart earlier, but here's what the surface map looks like. This is at Thursday evening, overnight Thursday night, and then Friday morning there goes the system. And I think that's the basic idea. That and something along the lines of the most recent GFS computer model. That's the way to lean the forecast at this point in time. Now, before I wrap up the video, a couple things about next week. I showed you the big warm-up coming next week earlier in the video. Let me show you a couple of other things here. Let's go back out to the 500 millibar chart off the European model. This is next Wednesday. Big piece of slow-moving energy moving through the Rockies and out into the Plain States. That's going to be interacting with all this warm and unstable air out ahead of it. And so you wind up with a scenario that kind of looks like this off the GFS model, and it's the same basic idea on the European. But here we go. This is Tuesday evening of next week. Low pressure over the Red River Valley. This screams a severe weather setup over the Mississippi Valley and gradually working east from there. So again, that's Tuesday evening of next week. There's Wednesday afternoon, low pressure in Mississippi. Again, this still looks like a deep south severe weather threat. And then from there, that system pulls into the Carolinas by Thursday and Thursday night. Timing slightly different by the time it gets here on the GFS and the European model, but that'll be something to watch next week. Could be a multi-day round of severe weather over parts of the plains, the Mississippi Valley, the Deep South, and we'll see if that translates eastward from there as we get deeper into next week. All right, that is it for today's edition of the Carolina Weather Video. Everybody have a great day, and God bless.